Excuse me. Pardon me.
Hey, sit down.
So, this was Oculus.
Yeah, that's what we just saw.
Yeah, and
The film Oculus.
and it's amazing.
Directed by a guy.
We didn't get the press packet yet. They're sending them to us. But, yeah, the Oculus Rift was something I just kept thinking of over and over, and I was like...
I feel really bad for these guys, because the Oculus Rift, the Oculus people just got bought by Facebook. For $2 billion.
$2 billion! Oh, gentlemen!
So that's all anyone's going to be talking about? When you think Oculus, you're going to be thinking, hey, Facebook bought virtual reality. So then this movie just...
It's gonna get lost in... Well, that's the problem. It's gonna get... Oh, but maybe Google will be like, we're gonna bump these searches up. So maybe you got Google on your side. Yeah. This movie actually, though, like on a more cinematic perspective, and not all jokes aside, it did a lot of interesting things, I want to say.
I mean, like, we just saw it, so I haven't had time to let it settle. But I want to say I liked it.
Okay.
I think the ending didn't sit right with me. Again, I like to let movies settle for a little bit, but, like, coming right out of it, I think the ending was, like, way too abrupt. It felt like a twist for a twist's sake.
What a twist!
But, like...
There's definitely no closure in it.
Yeah.
And I think that, I think when you're making a movie, and especially a horror movie, closure is one of those things that generally becomes subjective with a lot of
horror like movies. A lot of horror movies just like it's not really the end because the thing you thought you killed was not dead.
Yeah.
And that happens way too often for my liking. And not to give it away, but that's kind of what happens here.
Yeah, it definitely does do that sort of thing.
It's a modern horror movie, that's what they do.
And it feels like it's kind of ripping off a little bit of kind of the old school, and this is something I've been talking about a lot, but the kind of ideas of kind of old horror that actually ends horribly. Like, there's no good ending. It is a bad ending, but this feels...
also kind of a bad ending.
Yeah, like that's the problem I want to bring up is it's not just oh, this is a bad dark ending. It has some things that we probably both agree on, that it was very abrupt. It had a couple of issues leading into it, I think, because it's okay to have a dark ending, and it's okay to have kind of a switcheroo ending. Those are perfectly fine. Those are great in media.
Yeah, like when they're done well, it's exceptional. But I don't think it was done well here. I think it didn't feel like there was any proper build-up.
What a twist!
Well, I mean, like, just generally, I feel like the characters could use a little work. Once they get into the actual, like, time to have a scary, none of the characters feel developed. They just feel like they are there to sort of move along the story, but what's kind of weird about it is that the story's kind of non-existent. The kids have more... the flashback... Because this movie is told partially through the flashback. And the way they set up the flashbacks is very interesting. It takes place mostly in this one house. Yeah. And it, like, depicts this evil mirror and how it, like, torments this family. And these two kids, after the first run-through of the mirror, they've come back to try and destroy it. And you don't see the whole, the first run-through of all the killing. You don't see that totally. It's sort of doled out to you as these characters are trying to defeat the mirror.
And it's actually kind of interesting because the way they kind of portray that is they're kind of like going through, oh, we know it has a history. Mm-hmm. We know that this isn't the first case. We know that this has been done before. Because that's like 90% of all horror movie setups nowadays, is that kind of typical lead-in. But there's no real substance to it. Like, it's almost felt a little bit of a kind of a throwaway. It was just like, dun, 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 and it was just like, whoa.
See, that's actually that opening sequence with the brother and I've already forgotten their names.
Yeah.
And Amy from Doctor Who, when they're in the room with the right. Huh. She does a pretty good American accent, not gonna lie.
That was like I was sitting there, I was like, wait, there's something out there. Wait a minute, no, you just, thank you.
Yeah. There you go. When they're in the room, like, discussing the mirror and the stuff it can do, I thought, because I hadn't seen the trailer, I don't know nothing about this movie. I just went in there, hey, it's a movie that I can review. So I thought they were going to go a little bit of a different route with this, not like the straight supernatural. I thought they were going to like make it seem as if Karen Gillan's character was crazy, and the brother was saying like, is she really right? Is it really supernatural, or is she just trying to cover stuff up?
Wow, they threw that shit right out the window.
No, yeah, that was.
Ha I threw that shit before I walked in the room.
Done like really quickly. But when there was still that doubt, that's when the movie was the most interesting, at least to me.
For that
for those
short
10 minutes
period of time.
Yeah.
But it was actually, I think, you know, I actually kind of now I'm trying to remember this. Another movie that kind of just throws it in your face like that. Oh jeez, it has the lipstick face demon in it.
Fuck.
Where you just
Insidious.
Insidious, yes.
That's a funny movie.
Yes, the first Insidious. Yes, that is a great movie, and I mean, in the relation to this, the idea is that it kicks you in the face pretty quickly, and Insidious did the same thing. It was, but I think that there was just kind of like, it feels like this was a combination of a lot of other films.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's kind of like Frankenstein's monster horror movies.
Yeah, it did. It was like, okay, let's do psychological, let's do supernatural, let's do kind of
slashery,
a little bit of
torture
slasher. Porn. It's, well, I mean, not nowadays. I mean, kind of, yeah. But
I think that's what they were kind of going for.
Yeah, it's kind of that, like, that kind of little, like, ooh, that's gotta burn. Don't get lemon into it.
It hurts, don't it? It hurts. Burns, doesn't it? Ooh, that justice system burns, doesn't it?
That'll make sense when you watch the movie.
Yeah.
And, I think that it was so close to doing something that was, like, maybe if they took a more, historical kind of approach, you know? Like,
possibly.
That, like, giving this more of a storytelling thing, or maybe kind of let it in as, like...
Right. Well, I mean, this is pretty obviously a low-budget horror movie.
I know, but I'm saying, like, something that would have been low budget, and they could have gone with a narrative. Like, the way that they had it set up, and the certain things that we've, just talked about the characters and stuff, if they explained it more through a narrative, rather than a full series of flashbacks, and kind of present-day things, it would have led you into that. It would be like, a narrative would have help just string all the pieces together. I think that's what I really would have wanted from this movie, is just something to just tie it together.
Sure.
Gesti like this.
Con I gesti.
I gesti?
Coi gesti.
Non lo sa.
Ok,
Non hai capito.
he's a yelling.
You know what else I kind of didn't like? Now, this is something that was hit and miss for me. Like, one of the central conceits of the film is that the mirror will mess with your brain and show you things that aren't really there. So, like, after a certain point, it's hard to be invested because you don't know if what the characters are doing is real. And there are so many fake outs where they're just doing something and they're like, oh no, we really weren't doing that thing.
I'm freaking out, man.
You are freaking out, man.
And they lean on that a little bit too heavily for my taste. Like, maybe if they had imposed some... They do try to do this too. Like, if they had posed some limits on the mirror's abilities, that could have helped. They tried that by saying, oh, this is like the radius. This is like how far the mirror can reach. So if we're here, we're safe. And then they throw that out the window.
Immediately broke it, yeah. They literally, actually, I don't think that even survived 5 minutes.
No.
Yeah.
I don't think so either.
And bringing that point up too, it was kind of, I actually did have kind of like a mild chuckle. Because I obviously was thinking in limits. Like, they're obviously, this is what we're being told. Supposedly this character has been studying this for a long time, knows the ins and outs. So you get the ground rules for what this is and how it can go wrong.
Right.
But instead it's just like, oh, okay, now that calm down period where, okay, we can take a small break and then try to get back, and there's, but it's going to be a little bit worse than before, but we got to power through it. It's not there because everything went topsy-turvy. The actual cardinal rule that they set up was it could trick you and make you see what's not there.
Right.
That was the whole idea. But now it's doing layers of tricking. This is trickception.
Yeah.
Actually, that sounds like a really skanky whorehouse.
Oh my God! You killed a hooker!
Call girl! She
No,
was a
Cyril.
call-
When they're dead, they're just hookers.
But the idea is, though, it did that where it was like, oh, this is trick. Oh, wait, but now this is a trick. Oh, wait, but we're going to trick you again.
Yeah. And they almost...
One more.
They almost, like, give the characters a way to see through that with, like, the phone thing. Where, like, Karen Gillian's character uses her phone to, like, say, oh, this isn't real. And then they do that literally once.
Actually, I noticed that her character was doing that a bunch of different times, and that was her check. She would do that. She would do it with the cameras, and she's like,
I mean, they have that in the main room with the mirror, but like other than that,
yeah, they kind of shied away from it. I mean, it was really actually that would have been if they improved on that like kind of core concept. It was like there's some sort of barrier here where it's like the technology. But no, then they throw
maybe
that
like thematically you could do like a mirror as like the old ways and technology as the new ways.
Oh man,
flashing.
they had so much that they could have done with that now.
Yeah,
we should make a movie.
I feel
Oculus
like
2 coming in 2015 for Mike and Michael.
We could do an Oculus 2. They're going to make an Oculus 2, I think. I think this movie is good enough that it's going to make some hot box office money, and then people are going to like it, and it's going to make a second one.
I'm not. For me, I don't 100%.
This is going to be one of those good enough movies.
Yeah, I feel like it is going to be good enough, but I'm gonna.
Because Captain America opens in like the week before, and then maybe people have already seen that. They want to see something else.
That's gonna be brutal.
Oh, yeah, I mean, like everything in the wake of a Marvel movie is going to be damaged, but.
You are all of you beneath me. I am a god, you dull creature. And I will not be bullied by that.
Blood sugar.
It's okay, just like cutting some of the Oculus trailer there.
Actually, you know what? I kind of feel a little bit odd about this movie. And the more I think about the idea of stringing, because there quite possibly could have been an ability to make this a series of shorts.
Okay, yeah. Like when she's going through all the other stories, like those are all the ways people died. And then
Yeah, like that
that
was
could
that
be good.
VHS?
Yeah, no, VHS is terrible.
No, but the idea. No, take the premise of VHS.
VHS is really bad.
And put good movie into it. Right?
Yeah.
I think maybe that was the thing. They were taking too many good things from good movies. And weren't looking at the terrible movies, because you always can learn something from terrible movies, because they might be terrible.
Yeah.
but
I feel like they're taking stuff from good movies and not understanding why they worked.
Actually, that's probably it. That's probably literally... That is it. That's the whole goddamn thing.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we're complaining a lot about Oculus here. I keep wanting to say Oculus Rift.
Explosion.
I know, right?
We're complaining a lot about Oculus here.
You know what we're doing is we're making an Oculus Rift.
Like, Oculus is not a bad movie. I liked it generally, I want to say, but it's I don't know that I'd say rush out and see it. You know.
Yeah,
if you're a horror movie, yeah, definitely, because horror movie fans, you've waited so long for horror movies that are good.
But if you are not desperate, you can wait.
Yeah.
Actually, this might benefit from actually seeing it in your house.
Possibly.
Being a little bit creeped out.
Yeah. See, if you... Okay, these are the two options, I think, that you should see this movie. See it with a packed theater, because all horror movies are good with packed theaters. Or see it in your house with a bunch of drunk friends.
That's probably the best way to go do it.
Yeah,
Anything that has to do with drinking. I get that.
In fact, go to the theater with your drunk friends. Pack the theater with your drunk friends.
So for my rating, I give it three beers out of 5. 3 drinking beers out of 5. What's your rating for this?
A 7.5 out of X.
7.5 out of X. There you go. Go see it or not.
Yeah.
But
it's not my money.
that's pretty much actually what we're saying. It's not our money, but our recommendation is to kind of do that.
Goodbye, everybody.